Alrighty, welcome back. Today's Digimon ReArise Digimon Showcase is Imperialdramon Fighter Mode. Imperialdramon Fighter Mode is a yellow Digimon. Today we're going to have a look at Imperialdramon Fighter Mode stats, his skills, test him out in a few raids, and 3 different setups for PvP to see how he performs. FM is available or was available through his gacha. He's currently not available, but hopefully this video will help you decide when he does return if you want to use your Digirubies to summon for him. He is a mega level Digimon that comes with 2 special rainbow plugins available through missions. His power plugins give him 700 power and 25% critical rate, and there's 2 of them, and his defense plugins, 2 of them as well, gives him 251 defense and 1000 HP. So really good plugins, especially considering this mega level Digimon has some pretty good stats. As a yellow Digimon, his stats are skewed slightly more defensively than other types of Digimon. You can see he has a really high HP at nearly 8,000, 3305 power, which isn't too high. It's not terrible, but it's not really high. And 1339 defense, which is a standard defense. So overall, he's geared more towards being a defensive Digimon. He does require a special evolution code, which is available through the Imperialdramon Fighter Mode raid. His raid does apply the effects of his main skill, which we're going to talk about right now. His main skill, Positron Laser, is a really interesting skill, and I believe it was the first of its kind. It deals 520% damage to 2 enemies, and it deals damage ignoring damage limiters of Omegamon, etc. At the moment, Omegamon is the only Digimon in the game with a damage limiter. Digimon with damage limits are targeted first, except if another Digimon on the other team has used a taunt. And you also get plus 50% to own counterattack rate for 2 turns. This skill is interesting because it ignores Omegamon's damage limiter. So they've kind of set this guy up as firstly a tank, secondly a partial blue support, and thirdly an Omegamon killer. If you can get a really good hit off on an Omegamon, you can potentially one-shot an Omegamon even with 3 stacks of his damage limiter up. The downside is if you don't one-shot him or get him below 1000 health, Omegamon will still have 3 stacks of his damage limiter left. This skill does not remove any of the ticks from Omegamon's damage limiter, which is a little bit of downside. So you really need to get lucky and get a really hard hit on him first. Otherwise, if he has more than 3000 HP, still get the full effect of his 3 stacks of his damage limiter. His sub-skill does 320% damage to 3 enemies and gives a 30% buff to blue allies' critical hit rate for 2 turns. So I said before that he is a pseudo blue support, and this skill is a part of that. Nothing too crazy in this skill. It's not doing massive damage, and the 30% crit rate buff for blues is pretty specific. Finally, over to his passive skill, 50% to own defense for 1 turn, again making him really tanky, and 30% to blue allies' power damage resistance for 2 turns. Again, it's a buff to blue team members, however, it's pretty niche. 30% power damage resistance isn't the greatest boost. It's not terrible if you're running a blue team or a couple of blue Digimon in your team. Other than that, you're not going to be seeing a huge difference from this passive skill, or the second part anyway. 50% defense is really good considering how good his HP and defense stats are. It will make him really tanky. Overall, my personal tier list for Imperialdramon Fighter Mode. In raids, I give him an A tier. He can be useful specifically in the Omegamon raid, I guess, where damage limiters are in effect. In PvP normal week, I give him an A+, not quite S rank. However, with so many Omegamons still running around, if you get a really good main skill off, you can severely cripple Omegamon or even one-shot them and make them completely useless. And in Yellow Week, I give them an S tier. He's going to be so tanky in Yellow Week and really help you out there. So as always, we're going to jump into some showcases now. We'll start with a raid. I'll take Imperialdramon Fighter Mode into the Omegamon raid so you can see how his main skill works against a damage limited Digimon. Then we'll jump into 3 separate PvP matches with a normal setup. Then we'll do a yellow/green team setup. And finally, we'll finish off with a defensive setup. Keep an eye on how his Positron Laser affects the Omegamons in PvP. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what Digimon you want to see next, and I'll see you next time.